Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here. Welcome back to Unsung Gems, beginning with the letter O. You already know how this goes. Let's dive right in. My first pick for today is a game called Offshore, which is about opening up drilling platforms and drilling for oil. The game theme is not very exciting. Some even might find it problematic, and the look of the cover, while I find it very striking, doesn't really match the look of what you put out on the table. But I thought this game was one of the most surprisingly good games I'd played back when I played it. It does not seem to have gotten a lot of distribution, or maybe people just overlooked it. I don't know, but there's a really interesting cooperative sort of nature to opening up the new platforms, because you can, if you don't have the necessary symbols, necessary technology, you can partner up with someone and you will both contribute to that and then split the rewards from that. And that works really well because it's quite structured. There is no loosey-goosey negotiation to it, which is what I generally dislike about games that offer you too much negotiation, is they grind to a halt. As players nickel and dime each other and the game outstays its welcome. This one does not do that, so it really works. There's one mechanism where you're pulling out tiles from a bag, and that's what you're digging up. But you have to be careful you don't build up the pressure too much, or you have a blowout. The whole thing is tight, it's quick, really works well, and feels like its own thing. I can't think of another game that has this mix of elements and works this well while doing so. So if you're interested in a Euro-style game that does something different, Offshore is a good one for that. Next up, I'm talking about Old World, New World, which is a card game / tile laying game from Victory Point Games. So the components are not fantastic. I do like the look of the game, but the components are okay. And in it, you are trying to traverse a map that you are also building as you go. The cards will behave as tiles. They are split into 4 quadrants. They have different landscape types. And so you're moving possibly a figure. You can also then have that figure jump onto a ship if you are about to traverse into water. Just take the token and flip it. It's a ship on the other side. Then you can move on water. Other players will put things in your way, will shift landscape tiles. And the main thing is, if I'm sitting over here, I need to get to that side. If there's a player sitting over here, they need to traverse over to this side of the map with a certain number of units. And that's what's going on. So we're all sort of running into each other in the middle. There's a few action cards that you can utilize to mess with people, so the game has teeth to it. And I just found it kind of engaging. It's puzzly, but it's also not an abstract, thinky kind of game in that way. It's not a perfect information game or anything. There's some take that in this. And yet, you can sit down and puzzle some things out. And I enjoy that mix of emotions in the game. So Old World, New World is a nice one. Plays quickly. Has some teeth, like I said, and a decent amount going on. It's going to activate different parts of your brain. Maybe some emotions, too. I've always been a fan of rolling dice and then placing those dice in spots on a map, on a board, right? It's not just rolling them and using them simply as dice, but as markers too. And Dominoes does that very thing. You are going to be rolling dice, you're going to be putting them out onto this grid board and trying to make groups. The game is very light. You are making groups of your symbol, scoring those. They'll be removed from the board and you'll move up your scoring marker. There's a couple of faces on the dice that are going to behave a little bit differently. They'll allow you to re-roll. They might act as wild faces, so multiple players can use them. And then if any of the players around the table are missing, right, if you don't have a full complement, then those symbols on the dice can also be grouped up, and whoever finishes the group scores the group. So they become every color, every player's color. So it's interesting. It's, again, quite quick. It's a family-style game. There's a little bit of meanness to it, sure. As you move some dice that are already placed on the board, you can sort of, do a little traversal on the map and stick a die of someone else's color somewhere that's basically useless, and they're going to have to drag it back out of there. You can bring your own colors together. You can, like I said, re-roll. But I just like the aesthetic of and the feel of making groups with dice you rolled and then you put out on the board, and now it's basically a token. I like that. So Aminos is a good one. Check this one out if you're looking for a neat family-style game with a nice amount of rolling action. All right, so my last two picks here are for party games, and the first one is from is a game called On Your Mark, and it is from Hallmark, as in the people who make the greeting cards. And it's a sketching game. It's kind of a drawing game with a cool idea, an idea that actually works in this one. I've seen the idea kind of implemented elsewhere with varying degrees of interest, but in this game, I think it works. You are going to flip over a few cards that you'll be drawing on, but they already have something on them. A squiggle, a circle, something's already there. You'll draft those, and then you need to use what's already there and add your own illustration to, well, get other players to guess something, right? You're trying to sketch something specific. That's the idea, right? And then party scoring and whatever. That very concept in this game works surprisingly well, and it's fun to take a card, to look at the card and try to imagine, how do I make those two squiggles mean shark? Okay, I think this one will be water, and I can turn this into part of his fin. That kind of works. Okay, there we go. So I really enjoy the concept here. I think it's neat, it's creative, it works well. The game does not have too many rules, which hinder it as a party game. But it's got structure. It is also not one of those like, here's cards with squiggles. Have fun, kids. There's rules in it. So I really enjoyed it. I'm very, very surprised by this one. Very little awareness of this one, or, sort of market penetration. But I like it, and if you ever see it somewhere and you're curious about it, if you're a fan of Pictionary, if you're a fan of that style of party game, here's one that's going to work for you. On your mark. And my last pick for today is a tiny little party game, like I said, from, of all people, Reiner Knizia. And this is a game called Over Under. It's a trivia game in which you are going to draw a card, you're going to read the question on it, and it will always have a numerical answer, like, how many bricks are in the Great Wall of China, let's say. And then the rest of the group, not you, will discuss, and they will come up with an answer. Once they've all settled on some answer, one answer for everyone else playing, you, the player reading the card, will say, I think it's over that, I think it's under that, or I think it's exactly right, which is you should pick sparingly. Then you'll flip over the card. If you were correct, the real answer was over, and you said over, or under, and you said under, then you'll keep that card. It's the next player's go. They'll do the same thing. Draw a card, read it. The rest of us now discuss and say, I think it's 15,000. Okay, great. It's under that, and we, look at it, and that's it. If you say exactly right and you are exactly right, then the only difference is, yes, you get to keep the card, and you get to immediately read another one. That's all it is. So again, you don't really normally say that. It's over or under. And that's it. What I like about this one is that it is so informal. It's tiny, for one thing. It's like a tiny little cube like this. And this is the kind of thing that if you're in a very informal setting at a party or something, you can pull this out. You can be sitting around a living room, right, with the TV going if you want to even, and just sort of grab a card, read it, people will guess, you go, yeah, okay. You don't even have to keep score, you're just doing the over-under thing. I like when some games manage to do this very well, and this is one of them, when a game is very adaptable to any setting, any surface, anywhere you are. You can play this basically anywhere. You can play this on a bus, going somewhere. You can play anywhere. So that's my main reason for enjoying this one. And it's a very simple concept you can play with, again, just about anybody. So there you go, everybody. Those are my 5 picks for Unsung Gems with the letter O. Thank you very much for checking these out. And, of course, I will see you on the next one. Take care.